The following program is presented by the HTM Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Turnbuckle Talk, powered by thegorillaposition.com and a proud part of the Roar Network, presented by the Hitting the Marks podcast network, so now in association with IndiePW.com. We're sponsored by collarandelbowbrand.com, where you can get 10% off when using promo code JKPodcast at the checkout. Also now in partnership with Phoenix at phoenixfit.com, where you can get 15% off all your health supplements like pre- and post-workout drinks, protein powder, super greens, and more when you use the promo code TBTalkPod. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching at TBTalkPod. To listen to the podcast, you can find us on Podbean, iTunes, Google Podcasts, CastBox, Spotify, and all those other podcatchers out there as well. As always, I am Big Joe.
And I am Karl Karufel.
Yes, Karl, another week has come and gone in the world of professional wrestling. And I guess just to kind of catch up, how has the past week been for Mr. Karl Karufel up there in the now not so icy cold Northern Ontario?
Yeah, it has been very, very hot up here,
Yes.
which is nice, though. I'm okay with that. Definitely I am. Today, actually, I was outside physical distancing or social distancing, whatever you want to call it, with a friend of mine.
Yep.
And we were just outside sitting around having a Dr. Pepper.
Nice.
And then it started to rain. So we kind of moved the party into the garage.
Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, it's been warm and a little bit of rain today, and that's been about it. What about for you?
It's been very, very warm here, to the point where it's the kind of temperature where it's hard to sleep in, and especially being someone who works a night shift for their day job, quote unquote, makes it tough to get some proper sleep in. So that's been something that's been really tricky lately, is trying to get some good, decent sleep. Because usually I can sleep pretty well. Like I sleep like a rock when I sleep, but recently it's been difficult just because it's just friggin' hot, man. It's been hot.
Yeah, I mean, for us here too, we have a fan that runs in our room pretty much 24/7 right now, and we are definitely going to be looking at maybe a couple of portable air conditioners, at least one for downstairs and at least one for the upstairs of the house. It is crazy.
Yeah, those things are expensive too. We were kind of looking into one for here as well, but damn, they're up there in price, especially now that the demand has gone up for them. It's going to be even more expensive kind of as we go. So we'll see if we can make that happen for here. So, especially when you have equipment and stuff running, it tends to really kind of warm things up, and doesn't.
Oh yeah, it does.
So, especially in the summertime. All right, man. So let's get into some wrestling discussion here. And I guess to lead off, we have a bit of an interesting topic here involving a former WWE personality here. And now, from what we're hearing, now currently a former Ring of Honor talent. We're talking about Bully Ray. Looks like his contract is basically just kind of, it's elapsed. It's expired. And it's kind of up in the air what's going to happen with him. What do you think? Where does he end up? Does he go to another company? Does he retire? Does he just do the radio show? What do you think?
I think he's in some capacity, some way, somehow, he's still going to be involved in professional wrestling 100%. Just doing the radio show? No, I don't believe so.
Yeah.
Is he going to go somewhere? Yeah, I mean, that I don't know either. I mean, the guy can literally go anywhere that he absolutely wants to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just going to be a matter of time, I guess, waiting to find out where he decides to go. He might even just decide, hey, I'm going to, stay in the back and help out Marty for Ring of Honor, and just kind of leave it at that. It's kind of pull back himself a little bit from in ring and be more of that like booker or backstage type of hand.
Yeah, because I mean, Bully's no spring chicken anymore. I mean, he's 48 years old now. Debuted back in 1991, so he's been around for quite a while. Any chance WWE makes use of him right now? I don't know about that. I think he's at a time kind of in his career that I don't think he wants to go back again.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, if he were to go back to the WWE, I mean, I don't think that it would really do anything for him, and I don't think that it would do anything for the company either. It's really not going to do anything, especially like they're gonna want him to tone down.
Exactly.
Right. And I mean, right now he's out there being able to do whatever he wants. So why are we going to tone him down? There's no point in it. No reason for that to happen.
Yeah. I honestly do see him retiring from in-ring competition at this point, almost 50 years old. And I think that he just mainly kind of does it's the Busted Open radio. I think that he mainly focuses on that. And I don't think he's going to do much else than that. I think he's kind of done all that you really can do. I guess New Japan could be a possibility to maybe be some type of especially for maybe New Japan America. Once that kind of gets going again, maybe he could be a hand there. I mean, other than that, he's kind of done it all. I mean, this guy doesn't have anything else to prove in the ring.
No, not at all.
It's just a matter of if he wants to do anything kind of creative or if he wants to be somebody higher up. Which I don't know, man. It's I honestly don't see it.
Yeah, I really don't either. I don't see him really wanting to, like I said, go back to the WWE. No. Continue working? Possibly. I mean, why not? Right? He's, like you said, he's done it all.
Yep.
So why not be there as that person to be able to help out the younger talent that's in whatever company, whether it's ROH, whether it's Impact, whether it is AEW, whether it is New Japan, US, or America, or however you want to say it, doesn't matter. Some way, somehow, I think he's still going to be a presence on people's screens.
Yeah. AEW is a big one where I would most definitely kind of say no, because then we're really, really going to turn into that company where it's just like, we're just taking every single WWE outcast into this company. I mean, they got to draw the line somewhere. Otherwise, it's going to turn into like what Impact was when it's just, let's just bring in all the ones that people know, and it's going to be all the same thing kind of over again. They're going to be overpaying for older talent who can't really do much anymore. That's got to stop.
Even Tony Khan himself has said that we don't want to be just a dumping ground for former WWE talent. So hopefully he keeps with that mindset and that doesn't happen. Briefly here, super quick. Thank you everyone that is currently watching. We love having interaction. If you want to type in something while you're watching this and send it over to us, we by all means love it. We may even showcase your comment on screen during this broadcast as well. So, Big Joe, your final thoughts on Bully Ray?
Yep, it's kind of sad to see him kind of go from Ring of Honor. I thought as an in-ring personality, I thought he was fantastic. Some of the stuff that he did, he had a really good chance and really pulled off that heel persona and kept with it. It wasn't 50-50 about it. He played that dick heel wrestler, for lack of a better term, and he did really, really well. And he didn't in WWE and some of these other places. It didn't really fully get to kind of do that. In Ring of Honor, he got to do that, and now that he's done that, everything else that he's done, I think he's kind of at the end of his career when it comes to professional wrestling.
So now, do you want to see him make his way to some company to have that one last hurrah of a match to, go out as a big retirement match at all?
That opportunity has already been missed. When they went back to WWE and they didn't make them 10-time tag team champions, that opportunity has come and gone now. It's too late now. You can't do it.
But I'm talking him as a singles competitor, not as a tag team, not worrying anything about that, but just Bully Ray as himself, going to a company and being finally retired in whatever capacity. I mean, they could even do a retirement match and whatever with Bully Ray, do the stereotypical send-off for somebody. You don't even want to see that?
too many people, and myself included, when I think Bully Ray, I think the Dudley Boys, him and Devon, right?
Okay.
So, not to take anything away from his singles career, I thought he was fantastic. But when I think Bubba Ray or Bully Ray, I think him and Devon. And, Devon's, he's out. Devon's, I believe that he's still doing some training, but I mean, he doesn't want to actively wrestle in the ring anymore. He's not a spring chicken anymore either. So I think
training and running a school.
Yeah, I think that opportunity has come and gone, unfortunately, for him.
That's too bad. I would love to see an actual retirement for him happen in some sort of capacity. I mean, it doesn't even have to be a matchup. Just have whatever company, like Ring of Honor should even do it. Just do a really good video package for him, and have him in the ring watching this video package. Just have a really good send off for Bully Ray. I think that would be fantastic.
It brings up kind of a little side topic in itself worth mentioning. The full-on retirement match, quote unquote, now seems to be something that is almost kind of going away. I mean, it even looks like Undertaker might not even get a proper actual retirement match. So I don't know, man. It's kind of a weird thing. You would think everybody could get a retirement match, but it seems to be something that just doesn't seem to be a thing anymore. I don't know. It's definitely strange.
Definitely is. It definitely is.
Because there's been some really good ones.
It is what it is. If he's just gone with the wind, as they say now, then he's gone with the wind. No big deal. I mean, his career really speaks for itself. I mean, at the end of the day, Bully Ray is going to be remembered for Bully Ray and the Dudley Boys. So, I mean, no matter what, anytime that anybody mentions those three letters, ECW, people are going to be thinking Dudley Boys and Bully Ray. So I think that in itself is amazing.
Yeah, because that's why when I think of him, I think of ECW, and I think of him and Devon, with the Hardys, with Edge and Christian, those TLC matches. When I think him, that's always the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh, yes.
Something that hasn't really been coming first to mind, but I mean, this guy's kind of appeared again kind of out of nowhere. We're talking Mr. EC3. This guy's kind of making some noise here, Karl, and I think that you have a clip. He's been kind of basically teasing of going to not just one place, but several places. And you have one, I think that is for AEW here, correct?
I definitely do. I will pull that up here for everybody, and we will definitely be taking a look at this. So
I've actually
one moment, and whoa, what happened there?
Ooh, well, that's a little teaser for something that's upcoming. But I've actually held off on watching this because I had a feeling you were going to play it during the show, and I wanted to get kind of a live reaction to it. So
okay, well, here we go.
Not seen this yet, so
this one here is the latest one from EC3. Everybody, just enjoy.
Inside your future, or is it chosen for you? We are living in unprecedented times, from lockdowns to quarantine to turmoil in the streets. We are living an American nightmare. From coast to coast, Maine to SoCal, uncensored chaos and confusion reign supreme. You walk outside, it feels like you're in the jungle, boy. You fear the revolt is coming for you if you don't adhere to the groupthink. You feel like you're left out to hang, man. The natural state of things has fallen into this dark order. And you plug away, day after day, like a gear in an effing machine. Society is broken. But now is the time you keep your inner circle small. You do not have best friends. You can only trust yourself. And it doesn't matter if you're an old man or a young buck. You speak your truth. You stand tall, exalted. You rise like a phoenix, you carry yourself with Moxley, and you seal it with a sunny kiss. Now these bastards may criticize you, they may mock you, they may cancel you, hell, they may even imitate you, poorly. But you never give in. You never apologize. You put the word sorry back into that dictionary, and you throw it in the library in space, because it is never the end. There is no omega when you're an alpha. You think for yourself. You fight for yourself. You control your narrative. And if you don't, You're just part of the con. You are more than elite. You are free. And they have been warned.
Wow. That's I'm impressed. I gotta say that's this is a completely different character for him. It's very topical. Dude, I actually kind of want to watch that again after we finished recording. And he hinted like at every thing. He hit all the marks, so to speak. With that, I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
Now, keep in mind that this isn't the first one that EC3 has done. He has done ones for AEW. He has done it for Ring of Honor as well. This whole control your narrative that he has been doing has been just fantastic right now. Yeah. I'm super stoked to see wherever he ends up. We even know that Impact Wrestling will be having their Slammiversary event come up, and they have teased other names as well. Even EC3 himself has teased Impact Wrestling as well. So at this point, we're looking at EC3 is playing all of us, and we will have no idea at the end of the day where he is going to go and end up. And I am super happy about that. This is something that has not been done in so long, and it's a breath of fresh air right now. I am stoked.
How I'd like to see this kind of executed. I'd like to see him appear for Impact Wrestling. I'd like to see him appear for AEW. You know, he could be part of Cody's Open Challenge. You know, that seems to be pretty much open to anybody who's not in WWE. Show up in Ring of Honor and then decide on and then be a little free agent for a short period of time, and then decide on Ring of Honor. I think Ring of Honor is the place for him to go, because I think that's a really ideal location, because still that opens the door for New Japan and potentially NWA.
Yeah,
given we have to keep in mind that company's in a real rocky place at the moment, but that is there to kind of play that card as well. So that's where I'd like to see him go is Ring of Honor.
I honestly, I don't care where I see him as long as I see him again. I mean, WWE originally brought him in, Derek Bateman. They dropped the ball. Yeah. He was gone. He went to Impact Wrestling. He, did this whole EC3 thing. Ethan Carter the third, nephew of Dixie Carter, back when Dixie Carter was running the show at Impact, and then coming back into the WWE doing NXT and then main roster, and dropped the ball again.
Yeah.
Right. So at this point, I don't care where I see him as long as I see him, because man, this kid is freaking tastic.
Yeah.
At everything that he has been doing. His in-ring work, people might criticize it, but I like his in-ring work.
Yeah.
The guy on the mic, clearly, that video that you just saw clearly shows that he can talk.
Yep.
He's got the look. He's like a total freaking package.
Yeah, it's really a shame to have to say that you can add him to that ongoing list of ball drops of WWE main roster, people coming into NXT. He was part of that first match for the NXT North American Championship, that ladder match that involved Ricochet and all those people. That's actually, I might kind of go back and watch that again. I've watched that a handful of times. It was a really good match, and he held his own in there as well. And it was not necessarily a stand-in in NXT, but did some cool stuff with the Velveteen Dream and whatnot, and then went into the main roster, which it was a really odd kind of call up, quote unquote. I still am not really a fan of using that term. And then they just did absolutely nothing with him. As soon as I saw that they were using him for that 24/7 championship, I just knew. I was like, yeah, they got nothing for this guy. And it's a shame, because you had mentioned, he has a lot of positives going for him, but for whatever reason, just there was just nothing there. Whether Vince doesn't like people that continuously keep coming back, or what the hell's going on? Because I mean, that in itself, there, if that's an issue, is like, then why do you keep bringing these people back if you really have no intention of any kind of big picture use for them? That's something that I've been kind of thinking about lately. Is because we started seeing this now of talent coming back repeated times only to be squandered. It's like, what is the point? What is the point?
Right?
Why not just focus on your homegrown talent instead of these people coming back? And again, it's just a revolving door of nonsense. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I really don't either. This whole bringing them back to do absolutely nothing with them. I think it's more of just a power play type of a situation. When it comes right down to it, it's just power play on WWE's part.
Because even these kind of comeback debuts can be really, really cool. You know, EC3's was kind of cool. Even when Bully Ray came back in that surprise in the Rumble, you know, his music dropped, and that was really, really cool. And then brought Devon back, and then they had an opportunity to make them 10-time tag team champions. It was right there. The story wrote themselves, and they didn't. Right? It's like they didn't even realize it. You know, we were calling for it, and everybody else was talking about it, and they're like, nope, we're not doing it. Or they just didn't even acknowledge it. Oh man,
that was ridiculous.
It's such a frustrating thing inside the WWE. But some more AEW stuff here, Karl. Guess what? This person's name has come up again. This is something that it tends to keep coming up occasionally, and it has again here. We're talking Mr. CM Punk in AEW wrestling, Karl. Is there any chance in hell this guy ends up doing anything with this company? Seriously?
Maybe a quick appearance of some sort.
Is it even worth it, though, at this point?
Pardon me?
Is it even worth it, though, at this point?
No, he's not.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I enjoy CM Punk. I enjoy his matches. I enjoy what he's done for the professional wrestling business as a whole. I totally acknowledge all of that, but he's not I don't think that he would really be as much of a draw as people expect or anticipate right now. After so many years of all these teases going on of CM Punk, people now are just like, yeah, you're crying wolf, and that's it. And we've lost interest. And for me at least, I've just lost interest.
And I don't know if all of AEW is the right place to kind of do this, because it's a brand new company. You know, he has no history there whatsoever. So it's that to kind of bring him into that position, especially if it's going to be a one-off type thing. I don't think it gets over at all. I think if you're going to do that, I keep mentioning them, but Ring of Honor. I think if you're going to bring Punk back anywhere that's outside of the WWE, you go with Ring of Honor, because at least he has a history there, and he actually probably still has fans, and people can be like, holy crap, it's CM Punk. Remember when, But I mean, with AEW, it's kind of like, it's CM Punk, another ex-WWE guy coming in our territory.
Right.
I think that there's more negatives than there's positives.
Yeah. Like I said, doing a one-off, sure, you're going to get an awesome pop out of it. But then, like, continuing on and going forward, anything with CM Punk, I don't think is really going to be, very influential on anything and very good for any company, unfortunately, unless he goes back to the WWE. Yeah. Then I think that there could be something. But to really go to any other company, after he left the WWE, did he really do anything with any other company?
No.
He hasn't. So, I mean, besides formally being part of Ring of Honor and then going to the WWE, there's really no history at any other company for CM Punk.
Yeah.
So if CM Punk wanted to do something in ring, go back to the WWE, where they're just going to, you're going to get your pop. You're going to get your pop every time that you come out, and they're going to misuse you. And then you're just going to be gone again, and it's going to be done and over with, because people are going to be like, oh, okay, I got my CM Punk fix. I'm good.
How I would go about this, if you're going to go the WWE angle, I think you have him do a one-off Royal Rumble pop appearance. You do that, and then you move on. If we're going to go the Ring of Honor approach, that would be kind of my preferred way of doing that, because if you can kind of time it properly, then you can possibly even make him make use of him in New Japan. Again, this is where this partnership with New Japan and Ring of Honor can really kind of pay off. You can possibly maybe use him in Best of Super Juniors, or you can put him into the G1 over in New Japan. That'd be really, really cool. You could see some interesting things there as well, right? So, that honestly, I think that would be, if he wants to actually work a fair amount of dates, you go the Ring of Honor approach. If he just wants to do a one-off thing, you go the WWE approach, and you go and you get your pop over there. Or if you want to actually go and work, like I said, go up here, Ring of Honor / New Japan Pro Wrestling. Anywhere else, it feels, I don't know, I think it would feel really strange. The AEW one, it doesn't move the needle for me on the radar whatsoever.
Me either, to be honest. It really doesn't. I mean, any talk of CM Punk right now going any place really doesn't do anything for me. I at this point, I don't care. Yep. I mean, cool. It's CM Punk. He did some good stuff back then. But, I mean, moving forward, we have to move forward. We can't continuously be falling back onto these former stars that were there to try to build something up. And as bad as this might sound to some people out there, CM Punk is in no way, shape, or form the caliber of a John Cena when it comes to getting, people over, getting, having people excited. No way, shape, or form the caliber of, and I'm going to list off some names here: Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Hulk Hogan. No way at all, in my mind anyways. I mean, that's my view, that's my opinion. But CM Punk isn't at that caliber. No. So what's the point?
Yep, and even that backstage show, his appearance, everything there didn't really do much for that one. As far as I know, that is basically done. So, yeah, it's a weird thing because it's hard to kind of gauge the fan reaction. Because I mean, for quite a while, I mean, his name was still coming up in chants. Right now, you can't really go off of that because we have no audience when it comes to WWE. So, yeah, it's kind of a tough thing. Like I said, with the WWE, you go that one-off Royal Rumble approach. Or if he wants to actually get back and work, go Ring of Honor, and then you can possibly branch off over into New Japan as well, which I think could possibly be intriguing. It all just depends on his mindset. And but having said that, I mean, there's been so many times where he's basically said where he hates the professional wrestling business. So it's like, why? It's just there's so many moving parts to this thing, and just It occasionally kind of sparks my interest, and then it kind of goes away again. That's kind of been the name of the game when it comes to Mr. CM Punk and returning to professional wrestling. It's hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold.
That's right.
So, all right. So let's move away from some North American wrestling here, Karl, and let's go over to our friends over in New Japan. We have our final for the New Japan Cup set here, Karl, for July 11th between Kazuchika Okada and Evil. This is our final. Yeah. It didn't quite pan out. Half of that kind of went how I was thinking, but the other half, not so much. So how it kind of ended up happening is we had, going from the quarterfinals, we had Taichi versus Sonata. Sonata ended up getting the win over Taichi. I think people were expecting Taichi to go a little bit further. And then we had Yoshihashi versus Evil. Nobody really thought Yoshihashi was going to get that far. Evil put him down. And then we had Evil getting the win over Sonata, which was a surprise. And on the other side, we had Hiromu Takahashi beating Ishii, and then we had Okada beating Ishimori, and then we had Okada beating Hiromu in an excellent match. If you guys have a chance, make sure and go and watch that. So yeah, we're set for Kazuchika Okada versus Evil in Osaka Jo Hall on July 11th with, I believe, a third of a crowd in attendance. Yes. So that's going to be a really, really cool
crowd for this. But again, I mean, you can find New Japan World.
Yep.
Go and subscribe to New Japan World. You will not be disappointed. As well, you'll be able to see this matchup that's going to happen for the finals of the New Japan Cup 2020.
And I believe that this should be one of the first wrestling shows that actually has fans in attendance. I believe. So
actual fans, not just workers. Actual fans.
Actual fans, and they're beating WWE to the punch on this, which I think is really interesting, and I think could kind of push these other companies to maybe start following suit. And you had mentioned New Japan World, Karl. If any of our listeners / viewers now that we do video, if you guys are all interested in New Japan Wrestling, and you should be, hit either of us up, or myself especially. I think I watch New Japan a little bit more than Karl, but I can guide you guys through and how to subscribe. Because it is a little different because you're subscribing through a Japanese company, so the transaction on your bank account could kind of look a little sketchy, and the website itself takes a little getting used to, but once you get used to how it's laid out, it's really not all that difficult, and there's a ton of content. You can go all the way back and watch their whole archive as well, and their new stuff, it kind of immediately is kind of on demand, and then shortly after they do a version with Kevin Kelly doing commentary over top of it, so you can get kind of an English version. So I mean, once again, just New Japan Wrestling is kind of killing it right now, doing really, really well, and they're really kind of standing out from the crowd, at least in my personal opinion, and really excited to see fans back into the arena reacting to the wrestling going on. It's been quite a while here, Karl, and I'm really anxious to see how that's going to go.
And I definitely know that you are, because this is something that has plagued you for a while now when it comes to live professional wrestling, is the lack of audience.
Yep.
Thankfully, we're going to start to see some of that again.
Yep.
Actual audience, not just workers that aren't on the card for the day being out there. AEW kind of has that a little bit, but it's a mix of workers, and then up in some of the other stand areas, there's some fans that are there.
Yeah.
So they've been kind of doing it a little bit, but it's still mainly talent that's in the front row during the show. So very, very soon we are going to see fans starting to come back, and it is fantastic, because that's what the world of professional wrestling needs. It needs its fans. That's you guys. That's us. That's everyone going out there and supporting not only just these big companies, but making sure that when our indie companies start rolling back with shows again, if you can, go out and support them as well, because they're the ones that are taking the biggest hit right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So and then shortly after that, Dominion, kind of one of their bigger shows is going to happen there too, and I'm sure they're going to have something pretty cool lined up for that as well. Curious to see if they can start getting guys, like trying to think of, there's start getting like Tama Tonga and Will Ospreay. Hopefully some of those guys can start to coming back over to Japan, because I think some of them, Phantasmo, I think he's actually stuck here in Canada. So hopefully some of these guys can start traveling and get over to New Japan and they can start filling out that roster and get it really going full strength. 'Cause I'm really excited, and New Japan has me legitimately excited for professional wrestling. It's been a little while, because I've been really kind of disappointed with the empty arena WWE shows. The AEW ones have been kind of hit and miss for me, and Ring of Honor has been keeping things going just kind of with their archive. So I'm really excited to see fans back in the arena reacting to the live professional wrestling as it should be. All right, Karl, let's, before we do our Match of the Week segment here, we have a bit of a listener question again here, and this is one that I'm surprised that we haven't been actually asked this for quite a while, and I don't think it's really come up as a topic, and this is just, how long has wrestling been around for? And this is actually, you may not think it, but it's actually kind of a loaded question, because if you want to talk just wrestling, wrestling has been around since ancient Greek times.
That's right. Wrestling actually, according to Wikipedia, which, it's Wikipedia, right? Mm-hmm. But represents one of the oldest forms of combat. The origins go back 15,000 years through cave drawings. Yep. Babylonian and Egyptian reliefs show wrestlers using most of the holds known in present day sport of professional wrestling. Yep. So you're looking at all these different collar and elbow tie-ups and arm bars and leg holds and leg locks, and all of this stuff is going back 15,000 years.
Yeah.
was already being carved into and painted onto stones. So, I mean, that in itself is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
15,000 years this sport has been around for.
I believe
I don't know if you have the information, Joe, but how long has professional wrestling as a real sport in North America? Do you know about how long that's been?
Yeah, just back briefly on we're talking actual wrestling. I mean that goes all the way back to the Greco-Roman stuff and whatnot. And then when it comes to professional wrestling, I mean, we're looking at the late 1800s, back to the old carnival days. And as much as it pains me to kind of admit this here, Karl, one really, really good source to source on this is Mr. Jim Cornette. I mean, when it comes to old school professional wrestling and the history of it, I mean, it's tough to kind of find somebody that's better at it. Now, current day wrestling in social situations is kind of a retard, for lack of a better term. I'm not a fan of using that term, but I mean, I can't think of anything else to call him that when it comes to the current situation. But when it comes to the history of the business and the origins of it, I mean, it's hard to find somebody that's more knowledgeable than him. And it really goes back to the carnival days, where it was kind of like amateur wrestling with some of these kind of entertainment professional things kind of mixed in, and then it really started to kind of morph from that. It really was like amateur wrestling, but just on a bigger stage is kind of where it kind of branched off to.
Yeah, definitely it was. And I mean, like, you're looking end of the 1860s going into the 1870s carnival. That's really where it came, and they were often done for high stakes gambling purchases. So I mean, that's really what it was. It was more just like a gambling thing, right? Which was just interesting. It was interesting.
When you go when you go back and watch a lot of these old, really, really old school professional wrestling matches, you can see the history has repeated itself a lot. I mean, they did some pretty crazy, wacky things back in those old school days. I even saw one where basically the ring was filled with piles of raw fish and guys were wrestling in that. I mean, they did some pretty crazy stuff. You know, the picture up there where basically they're just wrestling in the street with people betting on what's going to happen there. It's professional wrestling and just wrestling itself. If you want to talk like just wrestling is pretty widely accepted as the world's oldest sport. And then pro wrestling has branched off of that and has been around, I think, a lot longer than, especially a lot of our younger audience is really aware of. It's
a lot of the younger audience is really just aware of like the WWE, you know, like the 1950s, right? And I mean, that's really where a lot of the younger listeners and viewers kind of understand professional wrestling, when, as we're showing you, I mean, in so black and white, literal black and white right there. This was something that was done much before. We're talking probably 100 years before that is when it really professional wrestling came into play. So very interesting.
Oh yeah, the history is rather rich. And as much as I'd like to kind of criticize some things that happened, you know, like recently, you know, we're throwing beakers of bodily fluids at each other and all this kind of stuff. It's probably been done several times in the history, and there's been pretty much like any kind of gimmick or stipulation that you could think of or situation has happened multiple times. So, it's when you look back on the history and you see how it's kind of repeated itself, and the origins of it are just really interesting. And and especially in these times, like in this picture that you're posting, and even a little bit after, you know, like the Dr. D when he was training, remember from Dark Side of the Ring, where he basically, when he was training, he basically just thought, you know, I'm just fighting for my life here. You know, right? He felt like it was completely legitimate. And so even this picture you've got up here, like these are the real kayfabe days, and especially shortly after this is really when, and then it kind of got exposed, and then people kind of forgot again, and then I don't think that history could repeat itself in that way, just given the way that society, and especially now that we have social media and whatnot, it'll be hard to kind of go back to those kayfabe days. This is a topic that keeps kind of rearing its head here, but it would be cool to kind of see something like that happen, but I think it would just be literally physically impossible, just given that it's out there now. And as much as I'd like to see it get back to, where we have the illusion that this is all actually happening and that not everybody's in on it, but watching these old school things, man, it's very, very different. But it's educational. And I think that our younger listeners, just Google search or search on YouTube for old school professional wrestling matches, and you can really kind of educate yourself and just see how far and how much things have changed and evolved over time. It's very, very interesting.
It definitely is. And I'm so happy whoever it was that had that listener question. Thank you very much. For all of you that are listening tomorrow or watching today, you can always go to our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter at TB Talk Pod, as you can see down below. And you can leave us these questions, leave us comments. We love interacting with all of you. So if you've got a question that you want to be asked live during our video podcast, definitely go to one of those three, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and leave us a message at TB Talk Pod. Yep.
The only thing that we ask is that you keep it expletive free if at all possible, and try and keep it clean and keep it to serious questions. Let's do match of the week here, Karl, before we do a little bit of breaking news and take a break here. I'm going to let you go first. What was your match of the week for this past week in the world of professional wrestling?
Believe it or not, mine comes from AEW. You know that I am a fan of the bigger guys that are out there working. My match of the week this week, we're looking Wardlow, Luchasaurus.
Wowie.
Yeah, I mean, two just huge guys that are in that ring throwing palms. I mean, that's exactly what happened. Some really good spots had come out of this as well. Wardlow, I mean, wow. Even okay, I'm gonna quote Jim Ross here. Wardlow just opened some eyes in a big way. And he definitely did. Wardlow held his own within this matchup. Both of the competitors up on the top rope. Wardlow sent Luchasaurus crashing down with a suplex. Lots of stuff. I mean, MJF, kind of distracted the referee a little bit. So kind of had that classic old school heel type of situations going on there. Jungle Boy and was out there as well. It was just fantastic. I was super happy to see this.
Yeah, with Wardlow, I think the key to being successful with him, less is more. Don't do too much of him. Don't have him doing flips and stuff all over the place. Have him be that big guy that does that big guy thing properly. Don't have him, he doesn't need to be doing stuff like Punishment, Martinez or Luchasaurus and this kind of guy. Just be a big brawler guy and just keep it to that, because it's just otherwise it just gets to be a little too much. Mine is coming courtesy of our friends at Ring of Honor. It's no secret that I've been going back thanks to their YouTube channel and going back and watching so much great, fantastic professional wrestling has happened over the years in that company. And this match here is no exception here, Karl. And this comes from 2016. This is part of their Throwback Tuesday thing that they do here. Actually, Throwback Thursday, wrong day. Throwback Thursday. And this is a match between Mr. Dalton Castle versus Jushin Thunder Liger. And this was very, very reminiscent of Liger's match with Tyler Breeze in NXT. This had a very kind of similar feel to it, and just fantastic. So much great character work, especially from Dalton Castle. The guy's a perfect match of persona and ability in that ring. He's a guy that I'm trying to put over a little bit more now. I'm starting to. Originally, I wasn't quite getting it with him, but the more and more that I've watched, which ironic right now is given that there's nothing going on, but the more and more that I watch him, the more I'm impressed.
Right.
And he's a guy that I'm really hoping that with this time off, that it's really benefiting him. And then when he comes back, he can make a significant impact there, no pun intended. And because he's a guy that, he's not huge stature wise, but just he has all the other intangibles that you would want, and somebody that kind of deserves a big push if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
That's the key there. And even getting to see him live work in a crowd with the mic, I mean, just it was something pretty special. So, a great match. Again, just go to Ring of Honor's YouTube channel, and you can find this and just so much more. I can't. I keep putting this over, but they do such a good job on that, and so much free content and full-on matches there. I mean, just if you're looking for a bit of an alternative, I mean, they're great outlet to go to. All right, Karl, before
wait, I do have to say, okay, so I know that people are gonna, start to kind of question what's going on here, whatever. Yes, I do understand that match, my match of the week, is not from this past episode of AEW, but the one before. I understand that. I work like crazy right now, and especially during this pandemic, I have been nothing but nonstop working. I have not had a chance to see Fyter Fest Day 1 as of yet.
I haven't had a chance to watch it either. So
I do have it PVR'd, so that is something that I will be watching, and come next week, I might have 2 picks.
There you go.
Considering I have to still see AEW Fyter Fest Day 1, and then by the time that we record next, Day 2 will have happened. But yeah, so I do understand that it wasn't something from this week, that it was from 2 weeks ago. But that's what I was able to see for professional wrestling this week.
And for those who are very observant, you'll notice that a lot of mine doesn't come from current wrestling kind of going on, because like Karl, I'm pretty busy at work as well, and I have to kind of find other sort of, I get to kind of watch single matches kind of here and there. It's tough to kind of find time to watch entire shows. With New Japan, I'm trying. Timing wise, it kind of works out better for me with them because of the time zone and when it comes out. Typically the show's kind of happening just as I'm kind of getting off work, so I'll have time to kind of sit down and watch an hour or two before I go to sleep. So New Japan, another reason why they kind of appeal to me is that it's on right at a time that's convenient for me. So all right, Karl, a little bit of breaking news before we take our break here. And the first one that I mentioned to you as we were getting ready to record here is this is Monday. So, of course, Raw is going to happen. We're going to see a new United States Championship, apparently.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know that this was happening. Again, I mean, like, that's, just product of the times right now, and all the work that I've been doing. I was not even aware that a new United States Championship was going to be unveiled tonight. Is this? There is no United States champion right now.
I don't believe so. I'm so far out of the loop when it comes to that, especially that title. But it's apparently the quote that I've seen here: the long-awaited debut of the new United States Championship will take place tonight on Raw. Sources say the belt has a clean yet prestigious look to it, rumored to look very, very similar to the Intercontinental title, apparently. So. I was kind of expecting it to almost look kind of like their other kind of their generic ones, like the women's and the WWE one. I was kind of expecting that, but apparently it's going to be very IC title-esque.
Good. I am happy with that. I am very interested to see what this is going to be.
Personally, I think they should have just merged the two championships and called them one or the other. I think it's, honestly, at this point, I think it's a little pointless to have both of them around, but your results may vary. In my opinion, I think it's a little bit different than others on that. So just kind of looking at some other stuff here. I mean, there's a little bit of dirt sheet stuff here. The only other thing that kind of stands out to me is that apparently Rey Mysterio is not under contract with anybody currently at the moment. So so he is probably free to kind of go somewhere else if he wants.
But he's got this big thing going right now with his son Dominic and Seth Rollins within the WWE. So I don't really see Rey Mysterio going anywhere except staying right there and possibly doing everything that he can to help Dominic become the next generation of professional wrestler for that family. So I mean, and why not? If he can work without contract and just get paid whatever
by appearance, yeah,
do it.
Yeah, for sure. I've been kind of out of the loop with that, but I don't know if you have how closely you've been watching that. But how has Mysterio's kid been doing over there?
You know what? Honestly, Dominic isn't too bad. He really isn't. He's got some really good basics down. He definitely is able to do the work. 100% he is. He's very agile. He's able to. There was one spot where he was, he got into the ring and he did some moves and whatever, and then Seth Rollins' clan decides to jump into the ring, and Dominic jumps over the railing, and then is kind of gone, and like he was just fluid. So I mean, he's definitely got daddy's genes in him, 100%. And I think Dominic, if they continue to use Dominic in a way that they have been, I think he could become like a little bit of a fan favorite with people, and possibly be able to move on further and become an actual star within the company. I think maybe a little bit of work on a microphone would help him. But I mean, we'll have to see.
For sure. All right, well, let's take a brief break here, and we're going to come back with our Showstopper segment for this week, involving, can professional wrestling matches be too long? We'll be right back, guys.
Hi, my name's Barry Radcliffe. You might recognize me from such films as The Longest Ride or Ted 2. Now, as a successful actor, I have 2 planes, a supermodel wife, countless exotic cars, and a ton of cash. You might think it couldn't get any better than this, but you'd be wrong. For only $4.99, you can get OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. That's OVWWrestlingNetwork.com for only $4.99. Now, will your life be as good as this? No. Will it be better? Yes, and I guarantee that. That's not valid anywhere. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99. Tomorrow's yesterday is today. Prices so low, they're insane. Want more bang for your buck? Well, so do I. At OVWWrestlingNetwork.com, it's only $4.99 a month. In between excitement, me too. OVWWrestlingNetwork.com is only $4.99 a month. You get that incredible value. She cost me $17 million, and I loved it. Want a real value? OVWWrestlingNetwork.com. It's only $4.99. That's a price so low. Well, it's insane.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand, the wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
The dictionary defines hero as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, or noble qualities. Being a hero in life is far more than words printed on a page. It takes an unwavering code, a compass that points true north, always. And in times like these, it takes sacrifice. Hero shouldn't be a word defined by a dictionary. It's a word that should be defined by the best of us. Hero has a new definition.
All right, guys. Big Joe and Karl Karufel back here on Turnbuckle Talk.
Yes, we are, guys. There you guys got to see a little bit of Al Snow's products, collarandelbowbrand.com. As you can see in the ticker down below, use promo code JKPodcast, 10% off your entire order. As well, if you do decide that you want to order that Shad Gaspard t-shirt from collarandelbowbrand.com, 100% of the proceeds will actually go to the family. And then plus OVW, their network that they have, just fantastic. You can go and see every OVW show that has happened over at that network as well.
Some cool stuff there. And for those who have been paying attention, I've actually kept the Shad Gaspard shirt as the product of the week for the past little while, because I just want to continue to push that and continue to support that. While that shirt is still being manufactured, I think I'm going to keep that going until they possibly run out of that shirt or they stop running it, because I want to make sure that we can help out that cause as much as possible, because it is a fantastic cause and we like to support that. All right, Karl, let's do our Showstopper segment for this week. And we're talking our professional wrestling matches, or can professional wrestling matches be too long? And for me, I guess the short answer is yes, they can be too long. But I think it depends on the approach and the context and the company in which we're watching. Now, let's start off with WWE, because I think that they're the ones that can be guilty of matches being too long in a bad way, because we do more of this entertainment aspect and segments and shtick in there sometimes. And I think one that we can kind of use possibly as an example here would have been this match between Edge and Randy Orton, where I think that is a match that could have benefited from being much shorter.
I would have to definitely agree with you there. I think that it could have been shorter and still gotten the point across. I kind of have to disagree with you a little bit when you're saying that it depends on company and stuff like that. I don't think that it really depends on company. It depends on worker and the two people in the ring. If you get two people, like let's say, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, those two could have gone 4 hours and it still would have been an entertaining matchup. Right. So, I mean, it's all really going to depend on the workers themselves and if they can keep the crowd engaged in what they're doing. I think, unfortunately, for this Edge and Randy Orton thing that you have brought up here, it was a cinematic pre-taped thing, which I think totally took away from it. Can the two of them, I'm sure that the two of them really would have been able to go for as long as that match was. If it was actually inside of a ring, I think it would have been perfectly fine. And time would not have been an issue. So for me, when it comes to can a wrestling match be too long? Yes, with the wrong workers.
For me, you'd hinted at it there. I think it comes down to the situation in the ring too. We're talking a match that where more kind of in-ring psychology is taking place, then you can get away with a match kind of being longer. But if there's a bunch of these other entertainment aspects kind of being peppered in throughout the whole thing, it gets a little exhausting to kind of watch. And this is another reason why I've become such a large fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, is that really is the focus there on the in-ring psychology and that more of that true sports presentation. That was something that I have to criticize AEW a little bit for, because that was something going into it that they very much pitched that as, we're going to be more sports-like or of a setup, and it really kind of hasn't been that. It's very much been a sports entertainment kind of presentation there. They have failed to deliver on that a little bit. There have been little glimpses of hope when it comes to that, but like I said, it very much depends on. Yeah, you had mentioned it, Karl, the in-ring, the actual talent working in the ring, and just the approach of the match itself. If it can be all about the in-ring work, and if it's like a sports-like kind of presentation, I really don't care how long the match is, to a certain extent. If we start creeping up over like an hour or longer, it gets to be a little much. But if it's one of these sports entertainment matches where there's a bunch of stuff kind of thrown in there, it gets to be too much. And that's really kind of about it. I'm cool with it if it's more focused on actual wrestling.
Me as well, definitely. I mean, if a match is going, a little longer, but I'm still engaged on the edge of my seat, and I'm like intent, like wow, I can't look away type of thing, then I'm fine with it.
A couple of good examples for you on both aspects here.
Sure.
Over in New Japan, say like Okada versus Omega or something like that. That's a match I can kind of get really kind of invested to. It's longer, but it's all in-ring stuff. WWE side, let's say Iron Man match between Brett and Sean. That's one that I can kind of get to because it was all just in the ring. There wasn't any of the other BS kind of really surrounding. It was just the two guys in the ring going for a bit of a longer time, but it worked because it was just in the ring. None of that other stuff. So that's kind of, and that's the kind of professional thing I really prefer to kind of watch. Yeah, I do like a little bit of the comedy aspects and everything in there, but not all the time. That's right. That's how I like it. So, all right, man. So I guess that about wraps it up, unless there's anything else that you want to kind of touch on that's been happening this week in wrestling. I think we've covered quite a bit.
Nothing really that's been happening. Everything has been just hunky-dory, as they say. Very happy that we had people coming on and taking a look as well. Don't forget, you can always visit our social media at TV Talk Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We go live every Monday at 3. The audio drops on Tuesdays. Be on the lookout for that. And just again, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in.
There's somebody that I work with who's actually that does some stuff on the regular here. We're talking about Mr. Jesse Stutsman, and we're getting off this episode with a little bit of the working man's blues. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Have a nice day.
It's me. It's an R2B to B. As you can tell in the background, we are out celebrating. That is what we do here at hittingthemarks.com. And I'd like everyone to continue to tune in to Turnbuckle Talk, but check out all of our other shows we have. You can find that all at hittingthemarks.com.
Run.
Big job, just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. I've been working, man, dang near all my life. Keep on working, long as my 2 hands are fit to use. I drink the beer in tavern, sing a little bit of these working man blues. I keep my nose on the grindstone, work out every day.